You know I'm a real booktuber because as I was setting up this video in the tripod and doing my thumbnail, I was listening to an audiobook. Brownie points. Hi, I'm Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka JND, and welcome back to another video. And yes, you are not wrong. Something is weird with my voice. It is seriously August 10th. My show has been over for 10 days and I have not gotten my voice back. I've been sick for weeks and it hasn't gone away yet, and I haven't filmed or anything. So I'm sucking it up. You guys are gonna hear raspy Jess. I know people are gonna comment going, oh my god, your voice is so cool, and I'm like, my throat hurts, so it's not that cool. Enjoy sick Jess while she thrives in this environment. So let's get into today's video. I am gonna go over all the books that I read in July, and I read so many 5-star books this month. It's insane. So let's get into it. Goodreads. You guys should follow me on Goodreads down below, by the way. So the first 3 things I read in the month of July was Abukon's Confessions, which is a manga series that I've been reading. It's super cute, but it's about this girl and she's kind of shy and to herself, and she starts working at her aunt's listening house, which is basically a house or a business that's all about listening to people's concerns and not commenting on it, but just strictly listening. So she works at this job, and this boy, this famous like all-star basketball player from her high school, comes in. He was about to confess something to her but didn't because she kept talking to him and trying to help him rather than just listen. So throughout the first 3 volumes, trouble ensues, and I also really like the character development in all 3 of the volumes. I read 3 volumes and gave them all 4 stars. Very cute, but the main girl did grow so much because you kind of see her being this kind of sheepish girl. You know, most mangas have the main female character be quiet and plain, and then the hot guy like falls in love. This is not that. At least it hasn't been for the first 3. She was quiet in the beginning, but she's very opinionated. She wants to help, and she always is trying to get involved, and it's just, she's becoming a stronger character, I feel like, with each volume, which is really cool. The next book I finished was The Devil's Thief. Oh my god, I can't tell you how much I love this series. So the first book is The Last Magician. Basically, it's an urban fantasy set in New York. There's a girl who can time travel and the world is coming to an end. Magicians are being hunted and they're being trapped in Manhattan. All this craziness. It's so cool. It's so engaging and thrilling. This is like a 700-page book and I could have used more. I also really appreciate that in the second book, the trials and tribulations, the stakes of everything is raised to the roof. I cannot fathom how this is all going to conclude. But my favorite cherry on top is the romance. I'm so sorry. The world is epic, but the romance is done so well. You know how you watch an action movie and like 2 people, the boy and the girl, are, you know, about to be killed or whatever, and then they like suddenly start making out and you're like, oh, you guys liked each other like that? Oh, okay. Like, I feel like a lot of stories end up having romance in them, but it's unbelievable because it's like we've been going through this plot and now they're making out. It's like, this book literally does it so well. And it also makes sense because these guys are trying to save the world. They don't have time for romance. And of course, if you see someone cute and stuff, it's like, frick, I like you. But you know what? I have 0 time for this because I think we're gonna die soon. Their sass level is just to perfection. Like, I imagine Lisa Maxwell just sits in her room thinking of quirky comebacks and she's like, yes, I gotta write that down for the next one. Like, I can just see it. I also really like the historical aspects of this. There's a big conference thing that's in this book that is parallel to American history, and it's all about how it fetishizes other ethnicities and people of color. There's also a lot of queer characters in here and also some cross-dressing characters too, which is very interesting because this is like 1900s and there's a lot of conversation around that. There's just so many healthy, amazing conversations in this while having romance and magic. I gave it 5 stars. I don't know if I said it's a 5-star read. The next book I listened to was an audiobook, The Music of What Happens. I don't recall the author's name, but boy, was this book so cute, so perfect, so adorable. Okay, 5 stars. Basically, this is a story about Max and Jordan. So 2 gay boys who don't know each other and somehow got into this business together. They are working on a food truck during the summer to try and pay Jordan's mortgage off. So it's like your basic romance contemporary, but furthest thing from basic because it's queer and awesome, and at the same time faces large topics like rape, so trigger warning for that. It doesn't explicitly give you many details, but it does talk about that, so I would warn you and deter you if that would make you uncomfortable. But it had such a healthy conversation about masculinity and how boys are supposed to behave a certain way. It was just the healthiest conversation. I do want to say that there could have been more conversation focused on like one character's insecurities, and there's just so much stuff in this book, and it's all about how you got to find those happy moments in your life, and that bad things are gonna happen, but you have to cling to something good. It was so enjoyable, and I really need more people to talk about it because it's so good, and I can't fathom that people have missed out on this gem of a book. So you like romance, you like crying, you're welcome. The next book I read, another 5-star read, American Panda by Gloria Chow. Wow, why has no one told me how good this book is? I am so impressed. So this is about 17-year-old May, who is going to MIT, and she's never had a boyfriend, and she has really parents with high expectations of her becoming a doctor when she likes dancing. It is such a packed book where your parents have immigrated here and they want a good life for you, but what they envision is different, and the different cultural pressures that are there. But at the same time, the idea that she is different from her parents, that she is American, and that is okay, and that she can try new things. I have 0 words to describe how amazing this was. I really think you shouldn't know much going into it. There is a heavy romance. Be prepared, because it's not about just her finding herself. It is about that, but it's also about a cute romance. So it's so adorable. I can't even breathe. The next book I read was a buddy read with Jessie from Bow Ties and Books. Holy bejesus, this book took a freaking turn. Now, this one for me is more of a 4.5. I will say that the first 200 pages, I wasn't totally invested in the main character, but I feel that that is intentional because it flips after page 200. You're like, what the F? But at the same time, though saying that, I was engaged and thrilled in the thrilling aspect of this book. So Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany Jackson. It's basically a thriller story about Monday who goes missing. So you're definitely interested and engaged in Monday and what's happened to her, but we're learning everything from Claudia's perspective. So I feel like it takes a while to understand Claudia. Wink, wink, wink. There's just so many gems in this book, like so many like little secrets that she's like, I'm gonna tell you this, but I'm not really gonna explain it, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna make you worry about this instant. Ooh, bite marks, so watch out. I feel like you should know very little going into this, but it was very good. The book, it also talks about domestic abuse, so trigger warnings for that. Oof. And oh my gosh, more people need to read this because it is freaking amazing. The next book that I read was Standing Against the Wind. So this was a really short book. It's literally under 200 pages. It also was published a very long time ago, so I did give it 4 stars. I found that this book was compelling, was entertaining. I really liked the concept. So basically, the main girl, she's like 13. She's about to go to high school. She's really smart. She is living with her aunt because her mom just went to prison, and this young girl is dealing with the fact that she doesn't like her neighborhood. She wants bigger and better things. She wants a proper education. She can't handle bullies, but she doesn't really have the opportunity. She doesn't have money. Her aunt doesn't have money, but a scholarship opportunity comes up, so she's applying to this. But the main focus of the story is a romance. There's a love interest. he's nice, he's cute. It was all cute, and I loved how she grew as a character, but there were so many faults with this book as well. The main love interest told this girl that you're a flower that grows in the trash, and there's so much bad things around you, and that's why I like you, and you deserve my love. And it's like that just implies everyone's bad. And to be honest, like, everyone in this book around her was pretty bad, but at the same time, that's not true to life. Like, normally when you have a bully, like, there's flip sides, there's more dynamics to people. They're not just, you know, cold cut bullies. And I feel like everybody in the book besides the main girl was just, you know, like, that's who they were. Their characters, that was their only purpose, and that's why they were written in the book, was just to be mean to this girl. So it didn't seem super believable. And the main guy character, there was no discussion about the fact that he felt that he needed to behave badly because he was a guy. Like, all his guy friends were kind of douchebags, and he felt he needed to be a douchebag too. And he also felt that he should do bad in school because he was a guy. I also feel like the girl only grew in character because of the guy, but the book does imply that she was able to stand on her own 2 feet in the end. There was many issues with this book, but I still recommend it and enjoyed it thoroughly, especially for young girls who are being bullied a lot. I feel like this would make them feel kind of seen. There's also a big element that this female character has really nappy, frizzy hair, so she doesn't like it, and people will tease her a lot for it. And I kind of wish that in the end, like, she figured out how she could like her hair naturally, but nah, it was like, the book was published like 10 years ago, so it was all about the frying your hair, and just, I think she got like a perm, or I don't know. She ended up liking her hair in the end, but it was because they did something to it. Which is no judgment, no judgment. Do whatever you need to like yourself, but at the same time, I would like books to teach 13-year-olds, younger or older, that they don't need to drastically change themselves to be liked, that you are pretty with, you know, just who you are. I think the book intended to do that, but it just has some mixed messages. Still very cute, a very cute romance, and I think it's a good book for kids. It was the DC Icon book, Superman Dawnbreaker. I feel so bad saying this. I am giving it a 3 stars. I did enjoy it, question mark. I think I have really high expectations because I really enjoyed Batman, Wonder Woman, and Catwoman so much. So I kind of thought that this last one would be, you know, just super amazing. And it wasn't, in my opinion. The DC Icon books were all about taking a superhero and basically modernizing them and adding some diversity to them, or not to the character, but to their life. So this is, you know, Clark Kent, and he's in his little Smallville town. Big businesses come in and try and corrupt it. There was a diversity element that was clearly added to this story, and I felt that from all the DC Icons books, this one was the most forced kind of diversity push, in my opinion. It did not feel as natural. I don't know how to explain how I feel about this, because it's hard to describe, because, you know, Batman, when Mary Lou wrote Batman, it was all about how he figured out that he's so privileged, because if a black man had been running around in that costume, in a Batman costume, or had tried to stop a crime, he would have died. Whereas because Bruce Wayne is white, he has so much privilege and money and opportunity that others don't have. And it was mentioned a couple times. One of Bruce Wayne's higher ups was a black man, and they talked about it briefly. Like, there was like 10 pages out of it that talked about it. I feel like the whole plot of this book surrounded race, and in my opinion, it wasn't done as well as I would have liked. And I know the DC Icon books really want to elevate their kind of older characters to be more modern. I just feel like you have to do that in such a careful way. Make it modern without making it feel forced, because otherwise you're trying to tell me about race issues, and I'm like, I know about this, I'm aware of this. I guess for some other people it might have been eye-opening, but it's like, this isn't news to me. I don't know. This probably makes no sense at all. whatsoever. Yeah, but I do find that Superman's character is probably the hardest to recreate because he is basically this perfect boy. Even though I feel like this book does do that well. They make Superman reflective and emotional. For the last DC Icon book, I was kind of upset. I am still hoping that DC Icon books come out because I want a Static Shock. If you guys want, also comment down below, should I make a DC Icon review video? Would you be interested? Let me know. Ooh, the next book I read was one that I have been meaning to read forever, and it's On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Who Nelly? I'm giving it a 4.5. I enjoyed it a lot. I care about Bree, and I was wishing the best for her, and I felt for her, and I feel like this is a tougher story to connect to for me because I'm not a big music person. I also thought it was an interesting conversational piece is that I found that a lot of relationships in YA books will have a boy like a girl and then the girl starts liking the boy. And I think that's a huge issue because I feel like YA is kind of always repetitive in this girls should like the boys that like them. The good guys who, you know, give their feelings to you and that you should fall in love with them and respect them because they opened up to you. And at the same time, I don't think that's how it should be. There's a lot of romance in this, surprisingly, and I didn't per se enjoy it, sadly. But overall, I did like the plot. I really liked the family dynamic with the mom and the aunts. The neighborhood, of course. Oh my gosh, Garden Heights. Like, I love the atmospheric elements of Angie Thomas. The writing was also very funny. And oh my god, I loved Bree because she was such a nerd. Like, besides all her musical references, which is totally okay because I get people love rap and stuff, and I'm just lost to that because I'm over here listening to musical theater. But I love the fact that she's a huge nerd and all her Star Wars references just made me happy. Made me so happy. So yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about this, but I did really enjoy it. Okay, oh, the next book, I finally finished King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. I've been trying to reread the whole series before reading Broken Throne, which is the last novella to this series, but I'm very happy I finished King's Cage. I know it is the one that everyone struggles with the most, and I think it's because people expected different things, and also the fact that it is kind of slow because most of the book an incident happens and people think the metaphor is way too literal, that you're in a king's cage, that the king and his role in life is a cage. But there's so much more to it because especially with modern politics in America or just even around the world, I feel like the king's cage is such a real life metaphor that it is insane. People are fighting for power that is basically useless and only an image, and it's like, does this actually benefit the people or the country? I just love the discussion around it, and I feel like it could be honestly analyzed. Like, I could see myself reading this in school and analyzing it about the relations to modern day politics and how people feel that money and power are what's important in the world, but is that actually what's important? And then I also love Mare growing as a person because the first book, she's kind of like, not bland, but she just goes with the flow and lets things happen to her, and she's very reactive. In the second book, she's kind of hardened and like is upset with the world because of everything that has happened. And then in the third book, she kind of realizes, like, she learns that she was being mean, and she learns to reflect on all the bad things that she's done and all the bad things that have happened to her, and she's just trying to live her life. Like, she takes a major chill pill. Like, after this anxious event happens in the first half, she learns just how to be a human and to cope with things. I love Mare, and I'm still in the universe hoping that I could play Mare in the movie if there's ever a movie for Red Queen, please and thank you. Okay, so the next manga that I read was LDK Volume 4, and to be honest, I know I rated it 4 stars. Don't really recall exactly what happened in it, to be honest. I might have to lower the rating to like a 3 for that series because I'm starting to completely forget about it. Like, it's very cute and engaging in the moment, but it's also super forgettable in my opinion. But that's okay because I feel like mangas are so short and just funny, and LDK is just supposed to be cute and funny, so it's not a huge deal. 3 stars is still a good rating. Like, you engage me and you entertain me. It's kind of forgettable, and the characters are kind of, you know, those manga stock characters where it's just like a funny romance. The next thing I read was Saga Volume 1, which is like the second comic book that I have given 5 stars. It is so good because it's so plot driven. There's this intergalactic war, but you weren't confused at all, and you didn't know all the details, but you were able to follow this story. And it's a romance. These two, not people, but I'm gonna say people because I don't know exactly what creatures they are. These two people were in love, but they're in different like cultural backgrounds, different alien species that aren't supposed to be together. They come together and have a baby. It's like against the rules because, you know, war and whatnot. And there was also multiple plot lines. We followed this high-ranking officer, and we followed this, what's it called when you kill people, bounty hunter. All 3 plot lines were engaging. The art style is graphic but very cool. I liked it. It's also told from the perspective of the younger girl, the baby that was being born in the first volume. So it's just all around super well done, and I'm kind of shook that a comic could be so cool, but it was genuinely super cool. Help me, help me. This is the last book I read. So this comic finally came out by Cami Garcia. I haven't read anything else by Cami Garcia. Look, more DC. I'm so excited for this Teen Titans series to come out. I really love this artist. He has an Instagram you should really check out. It's basically all Teen Titans art. So when he got commissioned to do all the art for the Teen Titans series that will be coming out, because there's also going to be a Beast Boy. Like in the back there's a Beast Boy blurb. But this one, of course, is about Raven. It's done so well. It is a new perspective to Raven's life, but still keeping it true to Raven, which I really enjoyed. It talked about, you know, her magic, and there was a loss of memory in this book, and it was just really compelling. And oh my god, there's the cutest new character. I think her name is Mac. Ah, so cute. There's this new character. She is freaking adorable. I loved her, and I really hope she sticks around, and I really hope that this series does well, because I want them to all have their individual introduction comics, and then I want them to continue the series with all of them together. I am asking for a lot, and I'm hopeful because DC tends to do better in their comics and animations than their movies, in my opinion. Besides Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, golden. And this is the 3rd comic book that I've given 5 stars. This one is totally biased because it is Teen Titans, and Teen Titans is my favorite. I grew up on Teen Titans, the TV show. I'm in love. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm emotionally invested into this without even having to read much about it. After reading it, I have such high expectations for the rest of this series. So please go support this. Please, please, please. That's all I read in July. I'm gonna end this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked my sickly rambles. I hope they were engaging, to say the least. So please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I don't normally sound this raspy. Check out my other videos to see how I normally sound and behave, because definitely feeling low energy today. Check my description box below if you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or my Goodreads to get more information about what I read in my daily life and all that stuff, especially because I'm sick and haven't been updating my YouTube as frequently as I want to, so I'm so sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.